Smart 24, driving business.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Business Edition. My name is Masika Tsime. This is the weekly roundup where we get to give you the top story that have made it in the headlines. Well, Business Edition kicks it off with the Djibouti and Kampala trade route. Now, Djibouti sought support from the East African community to enforce the multimodal trade route linking the Red Sea to the Atlantic Ocean. Now, seeking to extend the trade corridor beyond Addis Ababa to involve Juba, Kampala and West Africa. Djibouti Free Sports and Zones Authority has engaged major stakeholders with, of course, the Ministry of Works and East African Community Affairs and a profound link to Gulu, notably a viable to connect Juba and beyond. Now, concerns have been set to resolve Africa's disjointed transport network for efficient flow of trade and logistics.
While Djibouti port is seated at the heart of major international shipping lines linking Africa, Asia and Europe, Djibouti Ports and Free Zones Authority is committed to widening the trade and logistics corridor beyond links to Addis Ababa to involve Juba, Kampala and ultimately road to the Atlantic Ocean. The authority's outreach to Kampala set pace to developments that seek multimodal infrastructure that will connect Kampala and Djibouti via road, railway and air.
In Djibouti we have invested a lot on ports. Many peoples in this part of the region, East Africa, they don't know about Djibouti.
They don't?
Yes.
That's true.
And they don't even consider us as East African. We built 5 ports the last 12 years. And the smallest port is bigger than Mombasa. Yes. Mombasa is 15 meters depth. We are minus 18. So we are handling not only cargo for Ethiopia and in landlocked countries, also transshipment.
Okay.
We cargo from Europe to from Asia, for South Africa, Mozambique, Kenya are dropped in Djibouti and feeder by small ships.
Okay.
So
the corridor covering 4 countries, Djibouti, Ethiopia, South Sudan and Uganda, will only be certain provided affiliate countries such as Uganda open up to the proposal presented by the Ports Authority. Despite challenges to regional trade route provision such as LAPSET for the Great Lakes region, the Ministry of Works contends with Uganda's position as key to regional trade and development, citing need for a feasibility study to be undertaken.
Have all the potential, and that's why my ministry right now is under very big pressure to develop the infrastructure to ensure that we facilitate fast movement of goods and people. We will follow the protocols as required. We have, we call them bilateral air service agreements with the Djibouti, and since my friend is already here, I don't think that will be a problem to get the bilateral air service agreements. The challenge will be for us to do a study on the viability of when we take, what do we bring? Or how can we connect? If we go to Djibouti, can we connect to Mogadishu? Juba, Djibouti. This is what we need to study. But otherwise, in terms of routes, we need more routes.
Djibouti International Free Trade Zone holds signs of dominance as the largest in Africa. To the Business Forum Association, harmonization of the tax regime will be crucial to tap into the vast fruit market in the Horn of Africa, as the Minister of East African Affairs considers entering memoranda of understanding with Djibouti prior to ESC-level negotiations.
They have a very good product of the International Free Trade Zone. So we had an idea, as I wrote in a proposal, that if Uganda can request Djibouti government to reduce taxes on our fruits and vegetables, and also Uganda also reduces on the taxes on the goods which come from Djibouti Free Trade Zone to here, like the Uganda airline can make double business. They take and bring back. So instead of going to Dubai, then we get goods from Djibouti and we bring here. So there, the taxation regime, you have to think about that, right honorable.
Enter into some memorandums between Djibouti and Uganda as we progress to the other level of the ESC and others, because already we are together in IGAD, so we have somewhere to start.
Chairman Abubakar Omar Hadi stresses Africa's disjointed transport network as factor to less providence in the logistics industry.
On logistics, you cannot build surface transportation parallel to a sea. You are going to lose. You cannot compete. If it has to be perpendicular. When the sea stop, take by train and they call that land bridge. But if you build a Cairo to Cape Town, you cannot pay back the money.
Although Uganda is to as well undertake rail feasibility to link Gulu and Djibouti, there is a 250-kilometer road gap in South Sudan. A memorandum of understanding drafted in 2019 between the four countries is to be revisited to establish a start-off point. Ivan Tibenkana, Smart 24 TV.
Our second story revolves around enterprises. The Uganda Registration Service Bureau report for 2022-2023 highlights challenges for private sector enterprises. Now, despite 23,789 companies registered in the course of that time, showing growing interest among entrepreneurs and, of course, businesses to formalize operation, 53 companies were liquidated and 154 sent into insolvency. Now, in this report, the private sector, however, weighs in on why and what could be going wrong in spite of the accelerator programs for the startups.
According to Uganda Registration Service Bureau's 2022-2023 annual report, 53 companies ran out of business upon liquidation. 6 liabilities facilitated with settlement and 154 companies declared insolvent. Robert Mugabe, the Director Insolvency and Receivership, informs us that as part of assisting struggling businesses, 118 insolvency practitioners were successfully registered. To the private sector, this number is alarming, although optimistic for those that could be undergoing receivership to recover amounts of outstanding secured loans.
So our focus at the moment as URSP is to not liquidate them, but rather to do what we are calling cooperative rescue, keeping businesses alive such that they contribute to the economy. We have noticed that reasons that make them close include poor management, what we are calling cooperative governance, bookkeeping. You know, there is always a fight about tax and profits. So the practices that we do as business people are the reasons that in a way or the other may cause closure. So our focus now is how do we even make it zero? How do we make that percentage zero? Even if they have not disclosed it yet.
I think this is really a point of concern. We should not be losing companies, really. We should be, as a country, working on ways in which we can make our companies have a better opportunity of surviving. Now, this is where a lot of effort is going to be put to, first of all, see what is the problem, why is this company meeting its obligations. It's mainly because maybe they're not paying people who lent them money, people who supplied them goods, but they are not paying, they are not paying employees or are not paying government liabilities. So that is the time now in receivership that you look at this and start organizing yourselves. So many of them start by looking at the leadership, which they put aside and then bring in new leadership. Now, during that time, they now are discussing and negotiating with the various parties, with the various creditors, asking them for perhaps new modified credit terms. For instance, they can say, okay, if you are paying you 2 million a month.
Despite this, the report also reveals that 23,789 companies were registered compared to the previous fiscal year of 2021-2022, where the number of companies registered witnessed a notable 28% increase, highlighting a positive impact. PSFU asserts that cost of credit, private entities lending money to government, stringent business requirements, market variations, and more continue to hinder business growth.
With regard to business registration, we registered close to 25,000 companies, 27,000 business names, 90,000 legal documents, 15,000 debentures, and it is on record that the increase in registration of companies was by close to 30%. This means that you continue to see many members of the public, even the investors in the diaspora, taking interest in formalizing their businesses, which is a good sign.
Let me give you some of the elements. First of all, if you look at, for instance, the cost of credit, the cost of credit is so high. So when you go to the financial institutions to access money, which you should use to trade, the interest rates are very high. So there is too much competition. The companies don't make as big profits as they should be making, and because there is high interest rate, so many of them find themselves unable to service their loans. And then if they are unable to service their loans, definitely the banks are going to come back and say, if you are not paying, can we please liquidate the company so that we get back our money? So that's a big issue today. The second issue is that there are companies that are doing business with the government, and the government is taking long to pay. Now, if government is taking long to pay, it means if you borrowed to go and trade, so the banks, if they don't receive the money in the first month, they penalize you. So the second month, it is piling, and they are penalizing. So by the time if you are given 3-4 months and you are not paying, then the banks are going to come back and say we are liquidating you. One area that is causing companies to fail to meet their obligations is the markets where they sell their goods. This is mostly, especially true with small and medium enterprises who have a very limited market. And because they have a very limited market and the competition is high, they don't sell as much as they should to collect enough money to help them meet the obligations, pay the rent, pay their workers, pay loans, and pay this and the other. So in the end, they are not able to remain afloat. Also, recently we've had companies, because of the various stringent measures that have been put in place to collect taxes by URA, a number of companies are really finding it very hard to continue trading.
There is need to create more awareness about insolvency services in response to disruptions caused to businesses by the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, which many financially witnessed and are still unable to sustain operations.
Away from that, let's shift our eyes to cooperative banking. The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, together with the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, have officially launched the Steering Committee for Establishment of the National Cooperative Bank. Now, the long-term demand for the cooperative bank is part of the need for avenues to provide specialized financial services tailored for the corporate movement. In the same spirit, it will also serve as an exit plan for the parish development model. Let's have a look.
With over 50,000 registered cooperatives, currently serving more than 15 million Ugandans across various sectors, Uganda Cooperative Alliance and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives have set a steering committee for the establishment of the National Cooperative Bank, expected to ease access to affordable financing. The bank is set to pull 39% of Ugandans, currently excluded from the money economy, into the formal financial system.
In 3 months, we should have laid down some procedural points that the cabinet must consider for the bank to be established. But so far so good. I am happy at the excitement. I am happy at the zeal, and they are prioritizing the bank. We are now walking the talk.
But in Kenya, we all know the strengths of the cooperative bank in Kenya and the strengths of the cooperative movement in Kenya. Because for you to have a strong cooperative movement, you need pillars. And one of the pillars is the financial pillar. You need a bank of your own. You need a marketing pillar. You need a processing pillar. You need other pillars. The youth, the women, those are pillars, they are supportive. But more critical is the financing arm.
In the alternative ministerial policy statement for finance, planning and economic development, a merger between Microfinance Support Center and Pride Microfinance was proposed in a bid to form a cooperative bank to potentially bridge the financing gap, as the financial sector is currently dominated by foreign-owned banks. The proposal, however, denoted contrasting views. To government and stakeholders, the National Cooperative Bank will play a transformational role in supporting growth and sustainability of cooperatives, extending specialized financial products and services such as savings accounts, loans and investment options to different sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, services and trade.
All over the country. If you are in Moyo, we have a very big circle, the circle savings and credit cooperative in Moyo, a very big one with over 1 billion shillings. We have presence in Arua, we are present in Gulu, we are present in every part of this country as cooperatives. So it will be their responsibility to give us an opportunity to use part of their premises as part of their shares for us to put banks in those areas. Now, we have challenges because some banks that are holding on to the PDM circle are not present in the whole region of the country. So we hope that if we did this, we'll also be able to reach and send services nearer the people and on the grassroots.
Cost of credit still maintains a 4th position among access to finance challenges, despite sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing and transport demonstrating clear need for sustainable finance. In view of a central cooperative bank, such challenges are expected to be offset. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV.
Well, this is for the lovers of internet, and of course, NITA Uganda confirmed the price cuts of internet in the wake of the enrollment to the Digital Acceleration Program. Now, megabyte per second has been dropped to $70, that is 254,000 shillings, to $30 over 108,000 shillings. Now, similarly, government has considered partnership with the IT utility and manufacturers to promote access to affordable gadgets.
The National IT Authority has announced a slash to internet prices from $70, about 250,000 Ugandan shillings for a megabit per second, to $30, about 108,000 Ugandan shillings. The decision follows a motive to promote robust internet usage across the country. A 4-stage implementation stage was enrolled and used by government, which looks forward to launching the Uganda Digitalization Acceleration Project, which is the 5th stage to connect all districts to the national backbone infrastructure.
To date, NITA Uganda has completed the implementation of the 4 phases of the NBI, that is from phase 1 to phase 4, and we're embarking on a larger project, phase 5, and the Uganda Digital Acceleration Project, or UDAP, to fully connect the whole of Uganda 100%. We will cover all the districts in Uganda and also take internet to the 10,500 parishes of Uganda.
While government moves to slash internet costs, IT-based enterprises applaud the adoption of new systems, especially in workplaces and businesses, reflecting on extra issues that need to be tackled besides the routine high internet costs.
A number of things that was manual before. People spend time in the office even during the weekends. But then when we brought the new systems, there was transformation because then, it's 8 to 5. Now people have a work-life balance. And people are able to do other things outside office, not just only sitting in the office. And even that also speaks to our health as well. So one of the key challenges is people, but support creating awareness, communicating effectively, making sure that everyone is part of the team and everyone understands the objective and even the roadmap to the implementation of the new system.
You need SAP, and it's time for you to be able to upgrade to the right solution that you're talking about the future. We're in the technology space where we're talking about artificial intelligence now, then you need an ERP that will be able to adapt because new releases are coming out for you to be able to adapt on how we do business.
To expand access to countrywide areas, ICT Minister Chris Bariomonse confirms interaction between government, tech companies and other stakeholders at both continental and regional levels to mend ways of access to affordable IT gadgets.
The ministers of ICT in the East African region, we are having discussions to see how we can engage technology companies to have a negotiation on the pricing of smart devices which come into the region, ranging from mobile phones, smartphones, tablets, laptops, iPads. So we are having an engagement with technology companies to see that we have a negotiated arrangement, and we want to see the cost of these smart devices get lower. Because one of the inhibitions why many Ugandans may not be using internet, may not be connected, is the cost of the devices.
Government is poised to save money from the price cut, which the Director of E-Government Services, Collins Mugasha, believes would be channeled to other sectors of the economy, while boosting employment through business process outsourcing that requires cheap and affordable internet rates to thrive.
Amounts of money that we have been spending, $70 per megabit per second, if you bring that down to 35, it means the $35 saved now can actually be utilized for another government service. So you have half the cost now that was going particularly to internet costs, to parish models, to hospital services, electoral commission, census preparations. That cost that's being used within government now can now be transferred to actually be used for other government services. And the number one issue that all those BPOs or business process outsourcing companies that are employing our young people in Uganda has been the cost of internet.
Government has prioritized ICT services to deliver in implementation of social and economic development.
Let us look at logistics. Delegates from across the globe, including Uganda, assembled for the International Federation of Freight Forwarders Association Regional Conference for Africa and Middle East. Now, emphasis on challenges in the logistic industry, such as demurrage costs, NTBs, roadblocks, plus consideration for reduced rail tariffs have been tabled. Now, in the same light, advocacy for establishment of maritime agencies to enhance cross-border trade, similar to Kenya and Tanzania, was advised for countries such as Uganda.
Uganda's strategic position in the East African region has paved way for concern over appropriate means to enforce free flow of logistics as a land-linked country. Serving as a distribution and logistics hub for neighboring countries, supply chain disruptions are among the inevitables. But the International Federation of Freight Forwarders Association, of which Uganda is a member, believes the convention is a golden opportunity for Uganda to benchmark best practices for more investment opportunities in the industry.
From Africa and Middle East countries, and we are happy to facilitate the cooperation on regional level, since this is the way, coming from the global level to be introduced to the regional level and to try to use the best practices all over the world. So to say, this is the very modern way to deal with our profession, to deal with the advocacy of our profession to the governmental and non-governmental international level.
And we are very much honored to be hosting this conference on behalf of our principals who are theater. We have just started. The conference will take 3 days from first start, and during the process we have a number of topics that we are going to discuss, moving around freight, transport, logistics, and all that goes with it.
According to Kenya Ports Authority, Uganda is the second largest dependent on Mombasa Port, holding 24% market share. Kenyan President Ruto discussed a raft of measures to be implemented immediately and improve cargo handling through the Port Mombasa to the hinterland. Among them is the removal of weigh bridges and load blocks for transit cargo. The Ministry of Works and Transport confirms that these are yet to materialize. However, freight expert Charles Kareba suggests a maritime agency like Kenya and Tanzania could help Uganda handle these bureaucratic challenges more effectively.
You're welcome to come in, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that really relevant? Then the other things like what we used to the issue of roadblocks on the corridor, on the route, illegal road. I would call them illegal because they were not correcting any charges for government. Yeah. So like President Ruto said, why do we have these roadblocks? Because when somebody is transporting, he puts that he factors that in that I'm going to pay bribe on the roadblock. So he will put it to you, the owner of the container. So that increases the transport cost. Now, the issue of like on the railway transport, we are saying, can we also look at reducing maybe the tariffs so that we have more cargo on rail than on road? Yeah, these are some of the discussions we are having.
They charge the owner of the cargo what they call vessel delay surcharge. Are you responsible for their not being able to enter the port? No, but they charge you $100 per container because they cannot enter the port in the number of days they expected to. So those are unnecessary, and because we don't have a maritime agency as Uganda, those are the things that are dealt with by the Kenya Maritime Agency and the equivalent, I think, is Sumatra in Tanzania, which deals, those are the sort of charges they will tell you, either you stop them or you don't come here.
Discussions are ongoing to consider Djibouti Ports Authority as an alternative route. However, stakeholders such as Charles are doubtful of the idea, citing infrastructure limits to support that corridor.
Kenya, through Uganda, through South Sudan, through Ethiopia, because once we connect to Ethiopia, then we can link to the Djibouti port. Because already you know that Ethiopia is connected to the Djibouti port by train, by rail. So if we can have that connection made, there is actually a trans-road plan to have us connected through Djibouti port. Reason being is that we need to play also to have diversity of entry points, other than depending on one or two. If you have a problem in that one, then you are locked out.
There's also SGR rehabilitating the meter gauge area to Manza and onto our ferries across to Kasa port, which is under construction. So those are definitely going to be game changers, and they are going to facilitate faster movement and mostly to be cheaper, because the two cheapest means of transport
is by water and by rail. So we have less trucks on the roads, less pollution, less traction, less carnage, less so many things that are caused by those trucks.
Uganda Road Fund, a key driver in the country's road infrastructure, manages significant road assets worth 35 trillion shillings, responsible for 95% of the country's goods traffic. Regarding multimodal infrastructure and integration, construction of the Bukasa port is underway and completion is destined to facilitate marine, rail and road transport.
We are already now contracting the company to do the surcharging and reclamation. Because after that, when that is done, then we shall start the construction, the phase 2.
Now that brings us to the first section of Business Edition. We shall go for a short commercial break. We shall be right back.
Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel, so visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
Let's live it up and party and have cracking good fun. When it comes to edutainment, DSTV's number 1.
Is everybody ready to go, go, go?
We've got the zaniest characters to transport you away. The party is cracking, so why not come play? You're gonna love it. We've got so many channels and a ton of new shows, like Disney and Nickelodeon, where anything goes. So live it up with DSTV. We bring the fun. You know we're number 1.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome from that short commercial break. You're still watching Business Edition, your weekly roundup. Now we're going to start off with the intra-East African trade. Now, although East Africa community is meant to offer a large market for trade, merchandise and services among member states, as the expense extends beyond the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic. A report by the African Development Bank, ADB, indicates that a march of 10% trade activity. Of course, the markets in the region, however, attribute this to a number of factors, including weak mechanisms, taxation, and other barriers to this effectiveness.
The inter-trade within East African countries is below 10%, and that's according to Africa Development Bank. That simply means that the East African countries are not trading as expected. The same report indicates that there is a need for these East African member states to respect the treaties that were signed under the East African community.
I think that the mechanism at the moment is extremely weak, and these things are now being solved politically. We need some kind of trade disputes tribunal at the EAC that's effective, that has teeth, that can penalize countries that engage in such uncompetitive behavior.
The overall African Development Bank report indicated that the East Africa's economic growth is projected to rise to 5.1% in 2023, up from 4.4% recorded in 2022. But will this be realized when the East African member states are still battling with the trade disputes, for example, Uganda, Kenya, and Southern Sudan? Now that Uganda is going to host the first East African Business Summit, we hope this will be addressed.
In the very fact that East Africa is part of our program, the realization of the community, its growth, and perhaps its further integration, because even then, you know, when we started off, we started just with the customs union and whatnot. We still think of deeper levels of unity, including monetary union, confederation, political, and others. So to us, it is very vital that linkages be established for the African, the East African we really want. And therefore, when East Africans can come together and showcase something in concrete terms, which really indicates the beginning that we are having, is something to be proud of.
Countries like South Sudan now and Kenya that have joined the community and are busy frustrating it through establishing non-tariff barriers, finding all kinds of flimsy excuses that maize has aflatoxins. Are they saying that the maize in South Uganda has more aflatoxins in maize than South Sudan? No. So they are really using it to block the market. But they are not going to grow because at this moment they don't have the capacity to meet their own demand. Even Kenya that blocked our maize because of aflatoxin, when famine hit them, they were busy here buying maize from the gardens. So this kind of hypocrisy, in my view, ought to be addressed.
In June 2023, 65 trucks transporting maize to Southern Sudan were impounded by the Southern Sudan National Bureau of Standards at the Nimuli-Elegu border post on allegations that the quality of some of the maize was compromised. Kenya as well banned the importation of poultry products, including chicken and eggs, from within and beyond East Africa, and yet the East African Community Treaty is about market lead within member states.
So I think this kind of method is not good, because if you're not willing, if you want to protect your market, don't join a regional economic bloc. You stay alone. There are countries that have not joined and they are not closing or whatever. But if you sign up, then you have to respect, you know, you have to respect the values of that community and the aspirations and objectives of that community.
The EAC treaty is very clear. The integration is private sector-led integration, market-driven, and people-centered integration. Those are the two pillars of the treaty. Market-led or private sector-led integration, and the people-centered, meaning people need to see the prosperity out of integration.
Earlier this year, the East African Community Secretariat in Arusha, Tanzania, reported that the intra-East African community trade had hit $10 billion. That came as the regional bloc assessed Somalia's readiness to join the bloc. The report further indicated that the challenge is that the countries in the East African region are producing the same raw materials with no value addition and therefore holding back trade. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV.
Members of Parliament on the Physical Infrastructure Committee maintained rejection of the 735,000 shillings slapped on the purchase of digital number plates by the Ministry of Works and Transport. Rejection is linked to the exorbitant price that legislators find uncomfortable for many Ugandans. Now, in an attempt to justify the pricing, the ministry was kicked out for presenting documents that lacked confirmation of the respective minister and ordered to reappear.
Kampala City Traders Association appealed to the Committee of Physical Infrastructure last month to help them push government address the matter of digital number plates. Today, the Ministry of Works and Transport appeared before the committee to discuss the above matter, but they came with documents which lacked the minister's signature, forcing the committee to doubt their authenticity, and later this team was chased out of the committee to bring better documents next week on Tuesday.
That are not signed. Are we proceeding on well to discuss documents that are not authentic? Are we proceeding on well, Mr. Chair?
The Honorable Senior Elijah Cooper. These are the same people discussing the same documents. We are not going to accept documents in piecemeal. My view, I want to second that they go back, reorganize themselves, and then they come back on Friday as you have guided.
They were not prepared at all. So we requested them to go back and try as much as possible, see if they can be professional but also present credible documents. So we have not dwelt into the real issues. We have told them to go back to prepare properly because most of the documents were not signed, were shabby, were not authentic.
The proposed digital plate fee is 735,000 for both motorcycles and motor vehicles, from 125,000 for motorcycles and 135,000 for cars. Legislators have opposed this fee, calling it too exorbitant. The Minister of Works and Transport, on the other hand, has assured the committee that they, together with the Ministry of Security, will have another meeting to further discuss this amount.
The current 137,000. When now you raise it to 714, 300, this is abnormal. It's quite abnormal that our people, particularly the border people, cannot manage. Neither can our people, even drivers like us, manage this. So it's something that I pray that this committee does not accept.
We are specifically in the Committee of Physical Infrastructure. Yes, the committee has said we go back and arrange ourselves. One, they are interested in knowing the procurement of the new equipments, the amount involved and how we shall do it. Then number two, about the registration of number plates. We extended the period to 1st of November because we had not sensitized the public very well on how they would acquire these number plates, on how things will move. Then number two, you know, the contractors from Russia, due to the war there, they did not have enough time to bring in the raw materials used to manufacture these plates. But we are working around the clock to rectify these problems and sort it out. We had a petition from Kasita through the Committee of Physical Infrastructure of Parliament about the high prices at which Ugandans are going to acquire these number plates. We are going to look into it together with the Minister for Security. We see how best we can coordinate this. We see where are they basing to say this money is very high. Because even you see, Sometime we get a shirt was costing at 10,000, now it's at 30,000. Fuel was at 2,000, it is now at 5,000. We shall look into it and we respond to their queries.
Legislators have also requested government to bring a harmonized report on the digital number plates before implementation is done. According to the members, Parliament adopted both the majority report and the minority report on the matter above.
The Minister of Works and that of his security went ahead to implement a program whose a program without the harmonization. And Parliament requested the Minister of Security to table the harmonized position. Up to now, no such a document has been tabled. Mr. Chair, it is a very vital document that we must base on. So I don't think that we are still proceeding on well for us to handle this very matter without that harmonized position.
Chair, I am glad that government recognized its unreadiness to proceed with this intelligent vehicle monitoring system and decided to defer implementation until after sorting out a few issues. I want to concur with what Honorable Barimwezo said. The House adopted both the minority and majority reports, and there is need for us to know what position government has taken on the recommendations in all those two reports.
As shadow cabinet, and specifically myself as the shadow minister, I raised these issues in the Committee of Infrastructure, which was jointly attended by the Committee of Defense. We raised the minority report and the House adopted that report. So we are waiting for a harmonized report of the two committees of Defense and Infrastructure. However, government has gone ahead to implement something rejected by Parliament. So we feel at that level, the implementation process is null and void. It can only be validated by putting in place a due diligence team to ascertain the existence of this company and whether it is registered and domesticated here. So any collections made are illegal collections because the process is still irregular.
Both stakeholders and legislators have called on government to reduce the digital plate fee to an amount which is affordable for an average Ugandan. The process of registration has, however, been pushed to November this year. Sam Lanifa, Smart 24 TV.
Last and not least, in our final part, evaluation for tourism in our country, Uganda. Now, Uganda Tourism Board and the Hotel Owner Association embarked on certification of hotels and tourist facilities. Now, these are set to undergo a comprehensive grading and classification process after 5 years of negotiation to elevate Uganda and tourism competitiveness on the East African bloc, while, of course, conforming to the international standards. Now, as the country experiences remarkable growth in tourist numbers, of course, foreign exchange earnings, this move is benchmarked on evaluating the hospitality sector for greater heights.
A certified team of East African assessors has started grading hotels across the country. Marking the first assessment in 5 years, international standards require ratings to be updated every 2 years, rendering previous hotel ratings invalid.
The last one was done at the beginning of 2018, and we had a bit of a gap, and of course we all appreciate that COVID came in and disrupted everything. So for the last 5 years, we were not able to carry out this exercise of classifying and grading the accommodation facilities. According to the international standards, even when you're classified and graded, after 2 years, you need to be validated for you to maintain that status of, if you are, say, a 5-star, because sometimes the hotel facilities upgrade, and sometimes also, you know, they drop down in their standards, maybe because maintenance of the facility is not being kept up to date, or the service with the staff. So you could actually be brought down with the star that you are in terms of the grading. Work together in a coordinated manner to develop the quality of accommodation and catering facilities for visitors within the region. So we are aligning ourselves not only to our own needs as a country, but also to the East African community. The classification and grading exercise is a very vital component of marketing our tourism destination, as well as the standards enforcement. Once successfully done, it will create a positive impact because of the improved quality of tourism products and services offered to the travelers.
With 3,800 hotels in Uganda, 95% privately owned and 86% by Ugandans, the sector plays a vital role in the country's economy, providing 90% of all employment. Jean Byamagisha highlights the current focus on providing guest experience to attract more direct investments.
It's just not that you get up one day and say we are going to grade and classify the tourism sector or the hotel sector. There's a lot involved for this exercise to start or even to go on. First, the first point, you have to sensitize the private sector about it, because I've been in this industry for a long time, and I was here when we did the first grading and classification, and I know the problems that arose out of not being sensitized, because just remember the private sector has done a lot of investment, and their expectations, someone gets up and say, my hotel is supposed to be a 5-star, and who are you to call it a 3-star?
Hotels in Uganda, you charge 5-star prices for 2-star service. You cannot address this until you have been able to regulate the industry, and that is what grading and classification is for. And you cannot regulate the industry until you have buy-in. Right now, it is still voluntary. Somebody can say, I don't want to be classified. And we don't really have laws in place that will make it compulsory just yet, which is why the chairperson said it took 5 years of negotiations, of explaining and getting buy-in from the hotel owners themselves. And again, looking at it from the angle of the guest. For us, the guest is king. You know, if the guest complains, we have to be able to find solutions for that. So, with grading and classification, you as the guest, we are putting the power back into your hands. When you go to book a hotel for your family holiday, even for your own staycation, and the hotel is charging you $300, you already know and anticipate your experience in that hotel. If a hotel charges you $20K, you will be able to manage your expectations, so that you don't go in there and then go on social media and say, Ugandan hotels are ugly, Ugandan hotels are cheating us, because you did not manage expectations, but also because you were not protected. This hotel on their website markets themselves as, we deliver we are a 5-star, but with 2-star prices. And for those of us who are cheap, we run for that, and then we come to social media to bash that establishment.
The classification process relies on a criteria set by the East African Community Standards, established in 2006 to implement treaty requirements for Tourism and Wildlife Corporation. Quality remains a significant focus in grading hotels, lodges, and other tourism facilities.
Level of service, the quality of service, the quality of facility. If you don't have a swimming pool, can you be a 5-star? No. So there are certain amenities that are required for you to be graded a 4-star or a 5-star. The level of service, as it was already explained eloquently by Jean. You know, you don't expect a staff trained at a certain level, you know, which is very low, to be serving in a 5-star. So that's where the grading comes in. from the look of the facilities, the quality of the facility. By the way, even the sizes of the rooms. If you're a 5-star, your toilet should measure a certain size. Your bed size should measure a certain size. Your ventilation, your door, all those is what determine the quality now. Minimum requirement for you to be licensed. Yeah. Do you have a signpost? Is there security? When guests come there, are they going to be secure? So there's a whole long list of minimum requirements. Yeah, I have moved with some of you all over this country. We have been to places where the toilet is just next to the kitchen. Isn't it? Yes, Patricia agrees with me. Some of those places, yeah? Is UTB going to license them? No.
This development comes at a time the East African community is rooting for strategies to sell the region as a single tourism market destination to the world. Uganda is witnessing significant growth in the tourist arrivals, soaring from 844,000 in 2008 and 2009 to 1.5 million in 2018 and 2019, with foreign exchange earnings tripling, reaching $1.6 billion from $590 million in the same period. The goal is to hit $3 billion by 2024-2025. Ronana Habwe, Smart 24 TV.
Well, you're still watching a business edition. We shall go for a short breather. We shall be right back with the very last part. Do stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family. Be a leader. Be magic.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest. Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome Welcome back. My name is Maza Kastimi and you're still with me on Business Edition, your weekly roundup, and we are going to wrap it up with the western part of Uganda as we look at Rwanda petitioning the UNRA. Now, residents and leaders in Rwanda district were furious about the Uganda National Roads Authority for abandoning a road that caved in on 4th May. Now, irrespective of signs of Tukama's renovation, a process that has stalled as Hamura section remains unworked. The road, a clear link to Kisoro, Kabare, Rwanda and DRC, has had authorities question the roads authority over their delays.
UNRWA's lack of action to repair a road section in Rwanda that caved in 3 months ago has sparked unrest among users. At the onset, 3 weeks time frame was set to complete the repairs as signs of works showed. To their disappointment, just before a week elapsed, the equipment and workers disappeared from the site without explanation.
They came and started operations in a week's time, and then after, they stopped working. We don't know what exactly transpired.
They don't, man, you can't use the road properly. Now look at the big cars. Look at the cars which can pass. When you see them, you have to walk away. Man, big trailers, what? These big cars. Man, big cars. You have to walk away. Man, you have to first leave the road for the big cars to pass. But for us, the local person who is walking, you cannot pass. Man, those guys don't care about us. They only care about these guys, these people who are driving. For us who are not driving, they don't care. They only care about the guys who are driving. If you're not driving, they don't care about you.
Despite hope that UNRWA may immediately respond and restore safe passage, the remaining part of the road has been despised and termed as a challenge to safety and effective travel.
We are most worried about our children who use this road to go to school and also us finding it hard to go to our workplaces. We are so frustrated because this is the route we use to trade with people in the DRC, Rwanda, Kisoro and Kanungu among others. If worse happens, we shall be so poor.
Rwanda District Chairperson Stefan Ampeure expresses frustration towards the Roads Authority, citing UNRWA's inability to complete the work within the presumed 3 weeks as proof of incompetence, lack of cooperation, and a reckless approach, yet the expected rains pose a significant risk of further damage to the already vulnerable road.
The other part which they were repairing, they go through the valley and climb, and that's where the animals are using, because the road is so narrow that when the truck comes, it finishes all the road that is remaining. It means that these cows cannot cross, children cannot pass. You have no alternative. The only alternative you have is to wait for the truck to first pass, then you close, then you pass. It means we are going to have accidents here. But one fundamental thing that is likely to happen, and this one I'm telling you, when the rains of September come, this road is going to be cut off completely. We are waiting for them to see what they're going to do. But like I've said, there is a lot of disturbance, a lot of business destruction, there is a lot of fatigue that has developed among our people.
UNRWA spokesperson Alan Tsempewa has retorted to the crisis, emphasizing that the delay follows breakdown of equipment, reassuring consideration of repairs to the section as procurement of necessary material is being undertaken.
What is happening though, beyond record, our works are ongoing. We have not abandoned site. We have equipment on site as well. There is a process for procuring of additional and more suitable materials, which is taking a bit longer, but it's ongoing. Traffic flow is normal, but being guided around that section to ensure that vehicles are able to cross through that section. So I've been informed that we are doing more procurement for additional materials as well for site. And this is where we have a bit of lag. That's why you may notice that works may not be fast as they should be, because this is also taking a bit longer.
The district RDC further points out the instance of completion as it has already inhibited key progress, serving as link to Kisoro, Kabale, Kanungu, DRC and Rwanda.
I want to appeal to the people, to UNRA, Uganda National Roads Authority. Recently they came here, they were talking about Katuna, Hisesero Road. To me, before they can get on Katuna, Hisesero Road, they should first put this road right. Because we maintain what is there first. They came doing the surveys. To me, I'm thinking that the first thing is they should reinstate this road. The 2 months, the next month, actually have August and September. When the rains come, I'm very suspicious we shall not be going to work. Neither will people of Kabale be going to Solo, nor will the trucks be going to Congo.
This road at Wara Village, Hamura Town Council, Rwanda District cracked and caved in on 4th May 2023. Norbert Ndiamhachi, Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV.
Well, our final story will lead us to Kasese as they are into a predicament of PDM money. Now, two sub-counties in Kasese district stormed district headquarters demanding for the allocated parish development model funds to furnish affiliate projects. Now, the decision follows a non-remittance of the funds to beneficiaries despite meeting requirements that include registration and of respective groups.
Last month, Kasese District had the PDM program launched by the State Minister for ICT, Honorable Balu Kabyanga. Today, with just two sub-counties, Isango and Nyakatonze, yet to receive the revolving fund, residents have stormed the sub-county offices demanding for explanation as to why they are not benefiting from the fund despite fulfilling prerequisites such as registering their groups.
Sasa nichokorora ngu tumaligize ibintu byona tuhandikisize cyonkati nindora itwena hatulia tuikaliye tu.
The concern lies in the fact that we have completed registration, but we haven't received any money yet, while we hear that others have already received their money.
Residents confirm being already financially constrained, and the little money they would use to support development projects is instead being wasted on expenses to secure PDM funds as efforts for resolution is unyielding.
Sente za PDM government yazituweereza ate ne bagana kuzituwa. Tebatuwa kodi twagala Prime Minister tubuulire ku lwaki ensonga.
Government sent us PDM money, but they have denied access to it. We demand that the Prime Minister provides an explanation for this refusal, otherwise there will be unrest protests.
Kintu muyinza kukibuuza CDO ne chairman ne committee ya sub-county.
We should seek clarification from the CDO and chairman why people are not receiving money even though it's available.
Kasese LC5 Vice Chairman Ham Anathera confirmed that the two contested sub-counties are under consideration with the districts already progressing on the cause.
Each parish inao million 10 mumwenda almost. So we have enough money for every beneficiary, but it is a process that we cannot give out money. There is no direction that we can give out money ngatebayitira mu process. So what we want to do is to make sure as government in the whole of the whole district is Nyakatonze that is lagging behind because of the code.
Kasese District Chief Administrative Officer Erias Biamungu admits challenges in the program and reassures dedication to resolve, setting a 2 weeks ultimatum.
Chezija kufurumira ku pressure yo kugamba tugenda kugala wa ma office
This money will not be released honestly on pressure. We are committed to keep our offices open while actively working to expedite the process. Our goal is to ensure that everyone receives this money within 2 weeks.
With renewed efforts for financial inclusion in the current financial year, the troubled program still manifests dedicated efforts to realize the intended goals. Kate Namgera, Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV.
Well, that brings us to the end of Business Edition. My name is Mercy Katsime. We always love to have you on Smart 24 TV. Do care to join us next time, same place, same time. Have a good evening.
Smart 24, driving